Hello everybody, this is Mr. Eckstein. In this video, we're going to go through some of the things that we usually have gone through during parent night. So there's a lot of information for both parents and students alike. If you're new to Our Lady of Lourdes, welcome. And if you have already been at Lourdes in 5th grade or for many other grades, welcome back, of course. I'm coming to you from inside of one of our student pods, so you can kind of get a little sneak peek of what's going on around me. So we've got the little vinyl pipes, and we've got the plexiglass sheets in between all the desks. So this will make for a nice area for you all to hang out for at least the beginning of the year. So we'll see what happens. In this presentation, again, we're going to go through the slides that you see over here on the left. We're also going to go through some of the tabs at the top that are going to coincide with a few things we need to talk about. But we won't make it too long. I'll go ahead and tell you at the beginning that at the very end, I'm going to prompt anybody that has any questions for any of the 5-6 teachers to send an email our way regarding anything you have any issues with or questions about. So don't forget that even though, let's say Miss Bowen isn't in this video, you can definitely pose a question to Miss Bowen through me or any place like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Speaking of those other teachers, for those that don't know, your other 5-6 teachers are Miss Bowen, who teaches language arts, Miss Bryan, who teaches science, myself, I teach 6th grade social studies and 5th grade social studies as well, and 6th grade grammar. And then new to our team this year is Mrs. Cronin, who's going to also be teaching a 6th grade homeroom with math and religion being her focus, and of course 5th grade math. Okay, so that's your teachers for the year. We're going to move on to parent communication. I won't say a whole lot about this because it's obviously right here on this slide. And again, feel free to pause this video at any time if you have to get some of the details off of the slides. But each Friday, our team posts information to a 5-6 Friday letter. And I'm going to show it to you right now of what it would currently look like. Of course, because of all the NTL going on at the end of last year, it looks a little different. But I'll just choose one here on Sycamore. And for parents that haven't looked at this before, you're going to probably log in and you're going to get to your page and all your different things going on. And then you're going to see some options. So now I'm into the 5-6 page here. And for obviously parents, this is going to look different. But there would be news right here. Of course, there isn't any news right now. But I'll go to one of these archived ones just to give you a look of what it's going to look like. And I'll scroll down to one of these just Friday letters from last May, and here you go. Okay, so this thing is going to be pumped to you all every Friday. Usually we like to get it out by about 3:30 or better, and it has different things, maybe announcements going on. It could be even within specials. It could be things related to quizzes or tests going on or some kind of project. So for parents that haven't really experienced a whole lot with our 5-6 letter, or if they did something different for different grades, this is pretty much what ours looks like. Okay, so that's just a kind of sneak peek of what's going on with that. Okay, so we'll get back to this. Another form of communication that's going to come you all's way is the Friday folder. For us, Friday folder, which this is, Ella's right here. So there you go, Ella. Graded work and a lot of different communications also come on a Friday through this Friday folder. On the back, which a lot of people forget, is the signature page. If you forget that every once in a while, that's understandable, but we really want to have proof that parents have looked at this. So we want parents to sign the back, and that's also an indicator if there's been any responsibility slips or anything for that week, which we'll get into here in a second. So both the Friday letter that's going out via Sycamore and this Friday folder, which is coming home with the students in hand. Okay, so that's one thing. So that's parent communication thus far. Technology, we don't want to say a whole lot about technology because obviously everybody's been around the tall weeds in this technology business lately. But long story short, the big thing is we need everybody as quickly as possible when they get their student handbooks to sign the acceptable use policy. Acceptable use is pretty much just a contract that the students can get on the computers and use them in-house as quickly as we can. For obvious reasons, we want to get kids logged in pretty quick this year. We want them to get acclimated to kind of their passwords or Google Classroom or different things like that. I do believe that the AUP this year is on orange paper, I think, so it really stands out. So again, All the information that's on here on this slide is pretty common sense, but the big thing for us is that you all get the AUP, which is the acceptable use policy form, filled out as quickly as you can. Okay, so that's the technology piece. NTL, I'm not going to say a whole lot about NTL because obviously in the case that we go back to NTL, which is a possibility, you never know. 5-6 was a pretty crack team last year. We did a lot of good things. We kind of didn't really miss any kind of beats transitioning within a couple days time. So projects were still happening, tests and quizzes were still happening, lectures were still happening, work was happening. Okay. So in the case that we go back to NTL this year, I just wanted to show you essentially what it would look like. We do have the class homerooms. I have kind of my slot of class homeroom or Google Classroom, I should say, pages. The 5th grade, 6th grade, and the other 6th grade from last year, the end of last year. New this year so far is our 5-6 at-home learners. So those students are going to be working from home to start the school year. And then different this year, because of us wanting to kind of stay close and stay kind of in our pod, I guess you would say. Special areas are going to be per quarter for an entire homeroom. So in the case of 6E, we're going to have music for all of quarter one. So we're not going to have any of the other special areas during quarter one because we want to just stay with Miss Perry and try to reduce that contact or the number of people that we're coming in contact with. So in that case, as of right now, Miss Perry has already gone ahead and made a 6E music class Google Classroom. Now that's not to say that she's going to be posting anything on there right now, but this is just emergency, just in case of NTL. So she's already gone ahead and done that. So that's just kind of FYI as far as what Google Classroom looks like. Obviously, if we would go to NTL, you'll get way more information about what's going to be posted and how it's going to be posted. But I just wanted to give you guys a look at what this thing is going to pretty much reflect if it in the case that we go to NTL. And for those at-home learners, you're going to be seeing this very soon because that's where your work is going to be posted through. Okay, so on with this. Class rules, we won't say a whole lot about class rules. Obviously, you all that have had any of us before know our expectations. Anybody that has not had us before, as it says, the rules are displayed. The expectations are pretty evident right off the bat. So we don't expect a whole lot of craziness from you all, and we won't be crazy either. All right, which leads to general behavior warnings. Again, we don't want to get into the tall weeds on this too much. We're expecting everybody's going to be kind of getting used to being a student again anyway at the beginning of this year because of all this craziness. So we understand that people are going to be excited to be back. We understand that it's going to be hard to be a student again for the first time in about 5 or 6 months. Okay. So long story short, it's getting into the details about behavior warnings, but behavior warnings are indicated on a clipboard kind of between teachers. The infractions are documented, well documented, and that is in turn communicated to you all at home, parents at home. Okay, so that could be via Friday folder, that could be via email and slips, all kinds of different things. Okay, so I'm not going to say we're not going to worry about it because of course we're going to worry about it and we want to have good behavior. But for many, many, many people, we're not expecting you all to have to go down all these different roads as far as behaviors and things of that nature. Okay. So again, if you needed to pause this to look into the details about how behavior warnings work, feel free to. But for my part, it pretty much speaks for itself. Okay. Down at the bottom, you see this thing about celebrations. Obviously, depending on what's going on with COVID and other things going on in the building, celebrations or kind of getting together to celebrate our achievements is going to be a little different. But in a given year, on a normal year, quote unquote, we would have some kind of gift or celebration or just treat, I should say, for those that don't receive any kind of behavior infractions for the quarters along throughout the whole year. So again, I don't want to get too much into that just because that's a ways away. The end of quarter one is not for a while, of course. And we don't know really what we can do as far as getting together or having a treat or things like that. So we don't really know, but it's still on this slide just to indicate that obviously we want to celebrate those that achieve that. So we'll see. Okay, but it's there. All right, AR, just to keep you all updated, obviously AR is not going anywhere. Miss Bowen is going to continue to use the point system. She's gone ahead and put some of the dates into this slide to tell you about point values and different due dates and things like that. So I would go ahead and say Starting off pretty early, you want to get an AR book, okay? Especially talking about arrival and dismissal this year. People are arriving at different times. We're being dismissed at different times. So obviously, that's going to be a really good time of the day, either in the morning for you or in the afternoon, where you can have time to read your AR book. Okay, so really no excuses. So definitely get your hands on an AR book pretty quick because you're going to have a good amount of time to already get started reading. Okay, so that's your AR reminder right there. Okay, science and fifth grade religion. Again, I don't have to say a whole lot about all of these, but science for you all that are in sixth grade, again, pause this if you feel free to kind of read up on all the information. I don't need to share all of Miss Bryant's information because she's going to see you real soon and probably talk to you about a lot of this stuff, but it's there. Okay. Sixth grade is also going to participate in the science fair again, depending on how the year goes. We don't know what it's going to look like. We'll see. But that is still the expectation for sixth grade. Okay. Math, obviously, Mrs. Cronin is new this year, and she's going to be teaching math as well as sixth grade religion, which I'll get to in a second. But there are a few things that you guys are going to see. First of all, you have a new kind of textbook workbook. One of them looks like this. It's got the little robot guy on it. So that's the math notebook. Again, she's got all of her homework expectations and grade expectations on there. So feel free to pause this video if you really want to take a look at the details. But I just want to give you a heads up on that new text right there. So that's math. Religion for sixth grade, there's a couple things going on. First of all, as of right now, this is the Blessed Are We text that is mentioned right here on the slide. As of now, we only have one set. So I know Mrs. Cronin has a plan for that, but we're going to try to figure out how the homerooms are going to use this book first of all. And as well, the last couple of years in sixth grade, we've also done what's known as the Encounter program. Okay, Mr. Ash from over at the Parish Center has a lot to do with that. If you want a nutshell explanation, it's just kind of like a very extensive Bible study. But Mrs. Cronin will share more information with that about the Encounter program later. So those two texts are kind of related to sixth grade religion. Okay, so there's that. All right. For me, for social studies, and then eventually for grammar, we don't have to get into a whole lot of detail as of right now. But this is a textbook for both fifth and sixth because obviously it's kind of split in half by the stuff that we would cover. Like years past, we only have a class set or only feel like we need a class set. And especially this year, I really don't know how often we're going to use it, especially while we're in these little pods and trying to stay kind of separated. We don't want to be swapping the books back and forth and everybody touching them and whatever else. So we're going to find ways around that, obviously, but we're still going to use this kind of sparingly anyway, just for some of the readings or some of the information that's in here. But just know that you're not going to be toting around a social studies textbook, okay? Because these are going to be in here, and I'm really not sure how much we're going to use them, especially at the beginning right now anyway. But we can go through the syllabus right here. I won't say too much about fifth grade because, again, it speaks for itself. This is a list of things that we did last year. What we did not get to due to COVID, we did not do the history fair, and then we ended up not squeezing in ancient India and early Christianity. So those are things that for sixth grade, we're probably going to start with at least early Christianity because we want to see this connection between the end of the Roman Empire and the beginning of early Christianity. So that's going to be kind of dripping over into the sixth grade. Now, if you look across the sixth grade curriculum, you guys see all kinds of different things and know that they do take a while, each one of these units. And in a given year, even without COVID going on, we would get to about here where this black line is, okay? Depending on how much we cover or depending on how well we're doing, throughout the course of the year, we can get a little further, okay? But to be honest, a year where we would get to things like World War I and World War II would be pretty rare. And especially when you go on to seventh and eighth, you're going to start learning more in depth about the U.S. perspective on some of these things. Okay, so don't feel like you're behind from fifth grade because we didn't talk about this, and don't feel like you're going to be behind for seventh grade if we don't get to all of this because we usually do pretty well. Okay, but I figured I'd just give you guys a look at that. Okay, grammar. This is new for everybody because obviously if you had me as a fifth grade student, you did not have me for grammar. So I've got your grammar textbook right here. This is the Writer's Choice. Okay. I know it's new for a lot of people to see me as a grammar teacher, any kind of like language arts teacher, but like it says on this slide, throughout the year in grammar, we do a couple different things. Okay. Most prominently, we focus on different parts of speech And then in turn, we use that as a creative writing piece for a lot of different little projects, like a Halloween poem and all kinds of different things. Okay. What's new this year is that spelling, which I'm going to get to in a second, is going to be kind of congealed. It's going to be kind of like melted together with the same words that you're going to be seeing in literature. Okay. So the literature terms that you have per story or per unit are also going to show up over here in grammar, because we felt like we don't want to separate. We don't want to have two different sets of key terms that you had to study and then a list of spelling words. So we're going to pull them together. Now, the first thing I've got to say is because grammar is not really that set where we're going to have a spelling test every week, because we might be doing a longer writing project. We might be focusing on a different part of speech. So it doesn't really work to have a spelling test every single week, at the same time. Okay. But when we do, and when we start having these, we're going to use Spelling City in order to get the words. Now, I want to draw everybody's attention down here to where the blue and the red are. It says words can be found at this link, which I'm going to show you here in one sec. But the big note is this: parents and students alike, there is no username, there is no password for when we go look at our list of words. Okay. And in fact, you're going to be getting them from Miss Bowen this year anyway ahead of time. So you shouldn't really need it a whole lot. But I'm just going to show you what it does look like. Okay, when you go to the link here, it looks exactly like this. Now note, it does say login at the top, but that's for educators. That's for me, or like an administrator. All you have to do as soon as you get here is scroll down, and this is my list of words. Okay, so I'll just show you as an example. You would click on it, and the words would be down here, and they're just there to study. Okay, those that have used Spelling City in lower grades where you had to take time to do the games or get a certain amount of points or anything like that, we don't use Spelling City for that. Okay, we just use it as a place to put the words so that you can view them to study from them. Okay, but again, this year's a little different because you're already going to know the words from Miss Bowen and from your literature unit. And again, I got to stress this: we do not really have a spelling test in the books every Thursday or Friday afternoon, because a lot of times we're doing other different things, other different longer writing projects with grammar. So we're going to have to get through those first, and the spelling is definitely just kind of an extra piece to go along with the other stuff that we're doing. Okay, so that's grammar pretty much in a short explanation. The syllabus in question, depending on what emails y'all have received, there should be a syllabus attached in the parent email that's sent to everybody. It's a syllabus for all. Again, if you have any more specific questions about a class or fifth, sixth grade especially in general, feel free to contact any one of us. This last slide specifically has all of our contacts for our school email. But again, there's a lot of information that is obviously going to be coming to both parents and students alike in the first couple of days, first couple of weeks. We know it's stressful for everybody involved. So we don't want you to feel overwhelmed like there's just gobs of information that have to be kind of strewn through. Okay. Feel free to take a breath, ask questions. You know, if you're a student of sixth grade, just get settled in and get used to being a student again. Okay. And you're going to have opportunities to ask questions, both about these slides or about these classes or coursework, and a lot of things about what's going on in the building or how we're going to operate in general. Okay. So once again, to wrap this whole thing up, I welcome you all back. Okay. We'll see how this year is going to be. We know the last one ended kind of crazy, so this one's starting off crazy just as well. Okay. But again, take a breath. We're going to be fine, and we're going to see you all real soon. Okay. So for now, this is again me, Mr. Eckstein, telling you all, we'll see you soon. Stay safe, and we're going to get back into it. All right. Bye-bye.